our businesses, they see me deeply caring about customers. They admire that, and they themselves care about it. It's not about money. Money is obviously is it's all about prospering and making money, but good business is honest business with integrity. And I've always knew that if you want to have a long-term business, you have to have the right fundamentals, which is serving people well, create a value, and be fair with people. Finding the right people and telling them, here's the value that I want to implement in there, and as long as they understand it and they do it, they'll that business will succeed. And if you do it with honesty, integrity, and you tell people, I want to do what's right, it will succeed on its own. Legacy is not about ego. It's not about I want people to think of me this way or that way. It's me feeling when I pass at some point, and we all will, I'm going to go with a smile because I think I did my role with honor, integrity, then I think that's bigger than any business.
Today's guest is a remarkable entrepreneur, philanthropist, and community leader whose story is deeply rooted in Arlington, Texas. Sam Mahrouq is the founder and driving force behind Mahrouq Enterprises International, Inc., MEI. It's a multifaceted business empire that includes Automax dealerships, dollar rent-a-car franchises, MEI Auto Finance, and the innovative company Ikon Technologies. Ikon is a top telematics leader that provides customized software solutions and technology built to answer the demands of car dealers and owners. Additionally, Sam owns Moon River Ranch, a retreat venue outside of Waco, Texas, and is the local business anchor and development partner collaborating with the city of Arlington to transform the historic Caravan Hotel, which will also help revitalize a key city corridor in Arlington. Born in Amman, Jordan, a child of refugees, Sam's business journey began at the University of Texas at Arlington, where he worked his way through school. He began selling used cars while a student, and by the time he graduated in 1991, he was exporting 20 to 30 cars a month to the Middle East, earning $1,000 to $1,500 per sale. You can do the math on that. This success inspired Sam to forego a planned career in international law. Instead, he founded MEI Auto Group, his automotive enterprise. Sam graduated with honors, majoring in communications and public relations, and with a minor in business. Sam's commitment to his alma mater continues today. He's funded $500,000 UTA School of Business Financial Markets Lab and serves on the board of UTA's Center of Entrepreneurship and Economic Innovation. Beyond business, Sam is known for his deep commitment to philanthropy. He's a regular donor to the Oak Ridge School, the Boys and Girls Clubs of Arlington, the Al Hidayah Academy, and additionally supports educational and youth development initiatives throughout the community. Sam's charitable spirit has also been recognized by the Arlington Museum of Art, which has named its mezzanine gallery in his honor. Most importantly, Sam's family is central to his life. He enjoys spending time with his wife, Rania, and their 4 children, and is inspired by the values instilled by his father, a school principal and part-time trader, which helped ignite Sam's passion for entrepreneurship. Welcome to the Bigger Than Business podcast, Sam.
Thank you.
It's great to have you.
Good to see you, Jeff.
It's great to see you. Your history is fascinating. Do you mind sharing more with our listeners about your family history in Amman, Jordan, growing up?
Yeah. I was born to a Palestinian refugee family. A lot of people in Jordan are originally, Palestinians who left Palestine or made to leave Palestine in 1948 after the establishment of Israel. And there was a lot of refugee camps in Amman. And I was born in one of those refugee camps. Wow. At the age of 6, my father lifted himself up from poverty to got educated. Ended up with a master's degree, became a teacher, and then a school principal. Was the first in his family, but he was a very principled man. He was an entrepreneur, and that's probably his entrepreneurship is what got me intrigued in business. And
Well, do you mind sharing a little bit about the experiences you had with your father? Because you shared with me you had some experience side by side with him and how they kind of helped shape you as a successful entrepreneur.
yeah, there's one incident that I think was very critical when I was maybe 10 or 12 years old. My father used to be a day stock trader in Jordan, in Amman. And we're talking about, I don't know, 50 years ago, 48 years ago, in a third world country, the stock market was literally bleachers with a big blackboard, and these 40 or 50 companies that is publicly traded.
Wow.
And there was just a buy sell sort of, and people, when they want to buy, they just put it on a piece of paper. They give it to the broker, who will just say, I'm offering, I want to buy this stock for that much. And then if somebody sells it, you buy this. So my father was daily, right after school, he would go to the stock market and dabble with stocks. And I knew he was making money, good money, much more than being a teacher. So one time and this is how it goes. He never really wanted to take me. It's by pure chance, where we would walk to school back and forth. And sometimes when it's raining or bad weather, I'd wait for my father, because as a school principal, he's staying 2 hours or 3 hours past me being a student. So I'd wait for him in the library, do my homework, whatever, so I could catch a ride with him home. But in the way going home, he'll stop by the stock market. So several times I would just sit on these bleachers and I'm just looking at all this in amazement. And I remember one incident where I asked my dad, what'd you do today? Well, I bought 1,000 shares in this particular company, whatever that company. So I would just go around 8 o'clock when the news, comes. They would always just give you the stock market report. I mean, there were so many few companies that every night they will tell you what these companies,
them all on there.
yeah, and what the shares. So every night I would just go see whatever my dad bought that morning for what the price that night.
Wow.
And one time I was intrigued because it's like in one day he made more than his salary, an entire month, which is back then not a lot.
That'll get your attention. Yeah.
But that's when I started to say, there's way, you don't have to just work a 9-to-5 job to support yourself. There's ways where you can make, if he makes that kind of money every day, boy, he'll be, a millionaire. So that's when I started to think out of the box of I'm never going to just have a 9-to-5 job. I got to be more of an entrepreneur.
Well, hold that thought, because I'm going to dig into your out of the box in a minute, because you definitely think out of the box. There's no doubt about that. But let me fast forward. So how did a young 18-year-old from Amman, Jordan, end up in Stillwater, Oklahoma, at Oklahoma State University at the young age of 18?
Well, I migrated to here when I was 18 with my mother, and my older brother was studying at Oklahoma State University. And so that's how I went to school. I wanted to go to school there. Now, mind you, when I was a kid, I was always fascinated by America. I always wanted to be here, It's part of being an entrepreneur. I mean, I wanted to make it big in America. And I used to watch Dallas and JR, and I'm like, I want to be like that guy, but the good version. I want to have an office, corner office in one of these buildings. And, then, so I was just fascinated with the Western, the old Western movies, and with Hawaii Five-0 and Dallas and all, what America represented to me. So as I come here and I go to Stillwater, I'm like, Stillwater is a small town. And this is not America I saw on TV. That is absolutely not what I saw. Somebody cheated me here. No offense to Stillwater, Oklahoma, but I couldn't wait for my brother, who's in his final semester, to wait for him to finish. we're going to Dallas. And of course, to me, Dallas was the Dallas-Fort Worth area or anything in between.
So that's how you ended up at University of Texas at Arlington.
Absolutely.
Got
absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
So the TV show Dallas is why you ended up at the University of Texas.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
And that's where you completed your degree.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to talk about your out-of-the-box thinking a little bit. So you're at UTA,
right,
and you're working your way through college. Now, most college students that want to work their way through school or earn money get some kind of hourly wage position. Where did you get the idea of exporting cars to the Middle East?
Yeah. So I had no money whatsoever. Me and my brother came in here. He was working as a waiter, trying to find an engineer. Mm-hmm. He graduated as an electric engineer, but we had to survive. So he was a waiter, looking for an engineering job, which eventually he found a job at Verizon or AT&T. But I came with him and I needed a job, to pay my share. I was a bus boy at the beginning at the same. That's the first job I've ever had. I've never had a job ever in my life. And I was terrible. I couldn't do the job, Then I did a couple of other jobs that, I was a cashier at a grocery store and I just, was so bored. My mind has to be stimulated somehow, and I just couldn't sit behind a cash register, and I couldn't hold the job. And I honestly, in my heart, I knew, I'm not a failure type of a person. It's just whatever I'm doing is just not suiting me, and the funny story, as fate may have it, I had bought a car for me, which is 1984 or 82 actually, silver VW Rabbit diesel. Paid $2,500 from Division Street.
In Arlington.
Yeah. I probably ended up owning the same location.
I think you probably own that property now.
So as I bought that car and I was so excited about it, I had opened the glove compartment and the selling dealer had forgotten the auction receipt in there. And, when I looked at what I paid for it versus what the dealer paid for it, it's like about $1,000 profit, which, of course, normally a person would get mad, but for me, it was a big smile on my face. Now I know what I could do. Yeah. This guy just made $1,000. This receipt looks like he bought a car a week ago. Within a week, made $1,000. I can do that.
That's awesome.
So that's how I started in the car business. I asked a friend of mine to take me to the auction and bought a car from there. I mean, it's a long story, but I know, I can't tell you all the details. But anyway, I bought a car, Pontiac Fiero, which is a car that I knew I'm going to fix and sell. But if it doesn't sell, I'm going to fix it where I like it enough. If I like it, somebody else is going to like it. Yep. So bought it, fixed it up, sold it. The girl that bought it, I think she was another college. She was so excited and happy, and I made I think $800-900 within a couple of weeks. That's
got to go on that.
That's what got me. That's what I'm going to do, and I started buying and selling cars.
So you just were reinvesting all your profits and buying more cars.
Correct.
How about the exporting the Middle East? Where did that come up?
So in my second year in college, I think I was 20 in university. I went to visit my brother in Saudi Arabia, and he was a doctor there. And as curious as I am always, I looked what are the most popular cars there, and they were Chevy Caprices and these big American V8s.
Yep.
And I started going to places to find out how much the price on these cars, and compare it to what they are in the auction. And it was like almost double what I could pay for it in the U.S. here. Wow. If I buy for $5,000, it's $10,000. So I figured it must be, the shipping cost or whatever conversion, that must be it, or taxes. So as to my surprise, I found out that the shipping cost was about $1,000 from,
wow.
Maybe even $800 if I drive it to Houston, or $900 to Houston to the port, which I was driving them at the beginning, so I can save $100. And it was $900 to Saudi, and then no other expenses, no conversion, no taxes, no nothing. So I was like, wow, I'm on something here. I can make some money. So the funny story is my brother, who's a doctor, had he had a bank account in here with about, I think, $15,000 or $20,000, his savings. And he had put my name on it to, if he needs to draw that money back. You know, back then there was no this electronic stuff. He needed someone in here. So he had trusted me to be on that bank account. And I was still convincing him, brother, let's buy and send you some cars from here. And he's like, I'm a doctor. Hey, I don't want to be a car dealer. So then the day I used his money, bought a couple of cars. But I knew these cars are money makers.
Yeah.
You know, the right colors, the right. And I sweated. I was so afraid that, it may not work out because I'd never want to touch his money and make him lose money. But I shipped those cars to him. And when I had the bill of ladings, I FedExed it and I wrote him a little note, brother, I know we'll make money in this, but I promise you if we lose money, I'll make it up for you. Basically, these are your cars with your money. I started that.
Yeah.
Of course, he calls me. He was furious.
It.
Yeah. I was like, don't be mad at me. Because he said, no, don't do it. But I saw the margin so much that I had to kind of force him into it.
Chance, yeah.
And he called me. He was so furious and upset. And I'm like, chill. Here's what's funny. While he's on the phone telling me about, this is a white 84 Chevy Caprice and, I paid $5,000. You just ask 7 or 8. Then while he's talking to me, a doctor heard him like, I'm looking for that car. How much is it? 8? I'll pay you that much money. So he ended up making about $3,000, which was more than his salary back then in one car.
He was a believer then.
So he's like, all right, send me more.
That's incredible.
They started selling him more. And of course, after a while, I went overseas and I met some dealers. And because he couldn't sell more than 2 or 3 a month. At the end of the day, but we collaborated with his money to ship more and more cars. And by the time I graduated, like you alluded to, I was was sending 20, 30 cars a month, making a lot more. Yeah. I was like, God bless America. I never thought
generating between $20,000 to $45,000 a month while still in college.
Right, that's 22 years old.
That's incredible. It's kind of the automobile version of Michael Dell starting Dell Computers in his dorm room at the University of Texas. But so, was it just you running the business, or did you have to have people working for you at some point? Or
it was. At the beginning, it's all me, and then after a while, I had to, have a secretary and some people to handle the paperwork and the shipping, and because there was a lot of details.
So did you get other UTA students to help with?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I did have a couple of students. In fact, there's a lot of stories there where some of the students helped me and some of them failed me because, believe it or not, back then, I was buying cars from newspapers. They were cheaper from newspapers than they are from auctions.
Wow.
But there's only at that time 3 newspapers: Dallas Morning News, Dallas Herald, I think Dallas.
Yes, Dallas
Times Herald.
Yeah,
and then Forward Star Telegram. Yeah. So I can't buy enough of those. I need to buy 20, 30, and I can't buy enough. I've discovered something called the internet, America Online.
Yeah.
And on the internet, all these classifieds and all these newspapers nationally are on the internet. So I started to hire people to look at the classified section of these small newspapers around us, the Waco News and this new, all these, and then try and get that from newspapers. And then I figured, well, if I buy the Chevy Caprices, other people could be looking for other cars, Toyotas or Hondas or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I thought there's something to be done there if we can create a platform, an engine that harness all this data from all these newspapers all over the U.S., put it in a website, and start buying and, buying, selling platforms. And that's 10 years before Auto Traders, before Cars.com, before...
Wow.
I think, invested $70,000 on trying to get that. Hired a lot of students, programming students who were, didn't do it right and it didn't work. Right. And, but at the end of the day, what I learned now is and probably what helped me with Ikon is I quit, because I was frustrated.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew, if you believe in something, do not quit.
You got to keep going. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And you've done that with Ikon. We're going to talk about that in a minute. It's incredible. There are listeners who want to know, but Sam graduated with honors while doing all this, while building this company. So not only was he a pure entrepreneur, but very intelligent as well, and obviously knew how to manage your time well. So what was your vision early on as you started to develop this platform and you're selling cars, and how's it changed over time?
So, other people and other students and other, started emulating what I was doing, and they were shipping cars, and there was a lot of competition in this field. But ultimately, of course, after I graduated, I wanted to do, expand and do it at a bigger ways. But, of course, don't forget, I was buying and selling cars anyway in the U.S. too, here, dabbling with that too. Yeah. And, so I, right after graduation, I established MEI Inc. It was a small office in, I think in 1991. The other day, we celebrated MEI Inc. for 35 or 36 years been in existence. The very same office, same incorporation. I mean, the same name, that I created at that time. And it was Mahrouq Enterprises International. Keep in mind, I was one-man show in the back of a warehouse building on Lamar Street. I didn't envision it's going to be big at any point, but I opened MEI Inc. and I was exporting cars, wholesaling cars. That's obviously, when I hired some UTA students and all that. And probably 5 or 6 years later, I started my first dealership on Division Street, Automax. And then I bought another one. And then, obviously I was partnered with a friend of mine, Waleed Jelani, on franchise stores. In 2008, with the downturn, the recession, I had a line of credit from a bank that went out of business. To buy inventory, which we call that floor plan.
Right.
Of course, I'm thinking, wow, great. Maybe I own these cars for free now.
No.
Yeah. I was such a naive person. A month later, I got a letter. All right, we need our money. And I'm like, we have a 5-year deal here. Yeah. No. Read the fine prints and page 620, whatever, we can call the line within 30 days. So I begged them to give me about 6 months to exit from the inventory. Sold all the inventory in the auctions, and of course, we lost a lot of money on them, and literally probably lost a couple of $1 million, which is every penny I had at that point. In this one incident, shut down. I had 6 locations, shut them all down. We had sold the franchise. Hopefully, we kind of were holding that one, and just kept my 2 best locations.
Wow.
With the little money I had, with no floor plan, I changed my business model into the buy here, pay here. Because you don't need a lot of money for those. These cars are $3,000 cars, and if you want to fill the lot with 30, 40 cars, you buy cheap cars.
Yep.
Well, cheap cars are not bank financeable, so I had to finance those. Figure out how to do those, and then
so that's how MEI Auto Finance was ultimately born.
Absolutely. Yeah. But here's what was critical, because the universe have these things that or God, obviously, whichever you believe in, it there's a plan for all of us, and that plan of losing everything and putting me back in the nothing but buy here, pay here. And I didn't understand it very well. I started to research, how do I get these cars back if people default? That's how I learned about the GPS devices.
Yeah, wow.
So I was buying those, putting them in the car, and then I started to realize, whoa, there's a lot more to do with these devices. And at some point, I'm going to own a technology company that revolves around those.
That's fascinating.
So this is like 15 years before Ikon.
Okay. Well, that is very similar to a lot of entrepreneurs' stories, that adversity creates opportunities. It may redirect them, but in that redirection, they find opportunities in that redirection. That sounds exactly like what happened.
Absolutely. It's, this internal optimism that there's an upside for any bad situation that happens to you.
Yeah.
And then how do you really look at your situation and create the best out of it?
And you basically reinvented yourself. That's incredible.
That's correct.
We say around the Capitol chart room, there's always a way. You just have to find it.
Yes, absolutely.
You've helped us do that in a couple of cases, as a matter of fact. So I mentioned Ikon Technologies, and we're talking about Ikon. The capabilities that you've developed that came out of that GPS that you were putting in those cars so you could find them, that you're now using artificial intelligence and other cutting-edge technologies with the Ikon. Do you mind sharing with how that technology is used now in for the car dealers and the owners?
Yes. So back to 2010 when I had this unfortunate situation losing all, of course, nobody ever lost a dime on me. No banks. I never, everybody was whole, but losing literally my entire net worth that I've accumulated because of that downturn. But I still kept, enough to have two locations and enough to, maybe $500,000 worth of cash to buy cars and finance them. To protect them, to protect those cars. I had to put these GPSs. And then I started to think, what is this machine that tells me where the car is? Well, it's not, it's a mouthpiece. Technically, it's a phone that tells me a lot of information about the car. We choose right now to know I need the coordinates, but there's a lot of things to tell me about the car. It can tell me what's if the check engine light is on, if the car's out of gas. It could read the onboard diagnostic system, the computer, and really move that information to the cloud and enable me to read a lot. You can ultimately create a sign language from the behavior of a customer, meaning if a car is on the highway, a 70-mile-an-hour highway, and it's at 0 mile, it's stopped, that's not an ideal situation.
Right.
You can create that. Then that's what I mean by a sign language. You should be able to tell, well, somebody needs some help. Yeah. So you can text that person, tell him, are you okay? Do you need some help? Should we send you a roadside assistant? Especially coupling with, you can tell if it has a flat tire, if it's overheated. So all that so I knew that all along. And I was telling all these GPS companies who were selling me those, do you guys realize what this is? This is a lot more than a locating instrument. It's you can create this intelligence that tells you a lot and hopefully create a platform to help customers or connect dealers with customers. And of course, I wasn't speaking English to those guys because a lot of them are not dealers; they're technologists.
Right.
So, and I've always said at some point when I want to pursue the next enterprise, that's what I'm going to do. So in 2017, when I bought the technology from another company, but 2017, 18 to 20 was a transition period where I'm transitioning all my businesses to my next level leadership, so I can just focus on this technology. And we went to market in 2020. I think by the end of 2020, we had $3 million in sales for Ikon.
Wow.
The following year, we doubled to 6. The following year, doubled to 12. So right now, we're projecting about 70 to 75 million in sales this year within 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's doubling every year.
Yeah. When we first met, I believe it was prior to COVID.
Yeah,
it was.
It's early,
right after actually, it was before you bought Ikon, the technology. Then you bought it, and you shared. You said, "This is going to be big. You had a vision for it,
yes.
and you said this technology is going to change everything, and this is what I'm going to focus on. Yes. We're going to become a technology company."
Yes,
and look where you are.
Thank you. I mean, obviously, not to talk about money, but it's bigger right now, Ikon, than most of my other businesses. But there's still we're scratching the surface. We're hiring intelligent people. We're getting the data that is belongs to the dealers, obviously, and we're creating this AI of when the customer needs some help from the dealer, and building this platform to connect the customer back to the dealer.
Wow, what a great tool for the dealer.
Yes, it is. Yeah. I mean, I've always wanted as a dealer to figure out how can I, all these customers who bought cars from me, I mean, we make money from service, but how can I be of help to them and allow them to, come back to me more, not in a spammy, gimmicky way, but in a real help, You get in an unfortunate situation. How can I know about it so I can have roadside assistant pick up your car and bring it to me, for example, with, seamlessly. So, and I knew this is the way to do it. And if it works for me, it should work for the industry. So,
well, it's amazing. And the trajectory that the growth is on is just taking off.
Absolutely.
And you saw that. That's the point I wanted to make is before it was anything, when you just bought the technology, you saw it. And now you're making it happen. So
if we keep on the same trajectory that we have in the last 5 years, within 3 years, we predict to be $1 billion company in valuations, hopefully.
That's awesome.
So that's, and I'm just proud of the team that that was able to understand the vision and help me with it, because I'm not a technologist at heart, obviously.
No, you and the team you've surrounded yourself with. We're going to talk about some of the characteristics, and team building is obviously one of your strengths. And by the way, for the listeners, Sam now does have that big corner office, just like J.R. Ewing did, and he actually owns the building. So, okay. So I'm going to switch gears. So the Mahrouq family's part of a small number of wonderful families in Arlington, families like the Pecci family, the Sargent family, who've given tirelessly of themselves and the resources to help improve the city. You personally have been recognized by several organizations for all your and your family's contributions to the betterment of life in Arlington. Why are you so firmly rooted in Arlington and working so hard to help improve the quality of life there?
First of all, I'm honored to even be at the same level as someone like David Sargent and Pecci. These are amazing people. David is, with the difference of the age and culture we were born, but him and I connected a long time ago, and we just feel like he's my brother from another mother.
He says the same thing about you.
I love that guy and his soul and his spirit and his love to people.
He's a wonderful man.
But I came here when I was 18. Obviously Stillwater first, but then ultimately moved out here. So that's all I know. I mean, before 18, you really doesn't matter where you're born. You don't really know life. You become a man past that. So all I know is Arlington, and all the success that I've had is within Arlington. And you feel like there is this family support system, and but I was raised by my father to always be grateful and to give back to whoever gave me, to whoever helped me, and I feel a lot of the situation, the blessed situation that I'm in, has a lot to do with Arlington, with the community, with the situation of owning a corner there and building a business and prospering. And a lot of my employees were from Arlington, so to me that's the city that I belong to. Well, and I lived in, and my kids were born at, and for the last 35, 40 years. So that's the sense of community that I have and loyalty.
You've honored your father beautifully with how you've shown your gratitude and with your generosity to the city and the things you do there. And I'm sure that it means a lot. So you're also known to be a very patriotic American citizen. What is at the heart of your love for our country?
As a kid, watching, and and again, maybe this is one of the concerns because I didn't even know I was going to come to here, but I was just so attached to the culture. I was watching, Little House in the Prairie as a kid, and I would just, the resiliency of people in the West and in the Wild West and how they've accomplished and became that deeply connected to me, and I've always fantasized as a kid to come here, and as I came here and I was able to be in a situation where the sky's the limit. It's all mental. People always think that there's prejudice and there's this and there's good and bad things everywhere in the world, and if you limit your mind with some of the negative thinking and negative people out there, you never accomplish anything. You've got to look at the good in things. And I saw a tremendous amount of goodness in America and in American people. There's obviously, things that I disagree with politics and things of that nature. And, not to get political, but when you start to see, the lobbies out there and their power and their and the sway of the big money that ends up corrupting politicians, these are the kind of things that deeply upsets me. But then, there is a silver lining there, and at some point, the good guys will overcome.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I believe that at some
too.
point. Yeah,
I do too. And I've got some good friends like you who came to the United States from other countries. A number of good friends, and saw the opportunities and took advantage of it, and didn't let the negative thinking hold them back, and have done very well like you. So what a great contribution you've made to our country and to our community. So
Thank you.
I'm sure we love you as much as you love the United States of America.
I can tell you one thing. Here's, being from the Middle East, what made me believe in this country is I was trying to buy the location, Automax, back. I don't remember what year, September 11th, what happened, but the loan committee and that's the first property I ever bought, we're meeting that
2001.
weekend in 2001. Yeah. And September 11th happened, which was disastrous to everybody. And in my mind, being from there, I'm like, oh my God, there goes my loan. Next week, the committee met and they approved me. And it made me feel so honored that people look at the merit of the person, not at whatever the stereotype baggage that people associate themselves. So to me, it assured me, while obviously there's still a lot of people who have twisted or prejudiced ideas, but at the core, if the people see the humanity and the hard work and the honesty in you, that overcomes any other color, religion, look, whatever you are.
Absolutely. And I think especially in the market with business in the United States, business owners of integrity don't care about all that.
Absolutely.
They just care about working with people of integrity doing the right thing the right way.
100%.
And thank God for that banking committee that they did that.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to switch gears again, and then I really appreciate everything you're sharing. I'm going to go back to the betterment of Arlington. In one of your latest ventures, you're the local business anchor I mentioned and development partner collaborating with the city of Arlington to transform the historic Caravan Hotel, which will revitalize that key city quarter. Tell us just a little bit about this project and why you decided to be involved in it.
So, remember I told you two of my best locations that I kept were both the southeast and the southwest corners of Division Street and Collins Street. It's a very, very, probably the busiest intersection in Arlington. And I had two dealerships across from each other. One is Automax and one is Dollar. Dollar used to be a filling station, and the city at that point didn't give me any ability to build a nicer building. So I was running it in a very and I was very successful, selling up 100 cars a month in a very small location and tight, and well, it used to be grocery stores again, so it's not meant to have a dealership. And so when I had the opportunity to buy the Caravan, I immediately jumped on it because that would give me the chance to demolish it and expand and put a beautiful, nice dealerships that for that busy corner. And when I bought it, and that was the intention, I started to read about what the Caravan was and the history and what it represented to Arlington. And I was like, I really don't want to demolish this building. This is part of Arlington history. Maybe there's a way for me to remodel it and build it as a boutique hotel and incorporate my dealership as part of that whole remodeling of that corner. And it took me a couple of 3 years with trying to do all kinds of thinking process, architectural ideas, and it just did not work. That building was old. The ceilings were very low. It was rotten, so it would cost a lot more money to remodel it. But aside from that, you couldn't just attach it to a dealership. So it was. And then I came to the hard conclusion: if I really want to keep that Caravan, I gotta close my dealership. And
that really shows your heart too, because to close that dealership that's making a lot of money, to preserve a historic piece of property in Arlington, shows your heart for the city and for your gratitude and your desire to give back.
I appreciate it. And to me, I used to tell Jeff Williams, the previous mayor, about the Caravan. That's before Jeff, I'm going to build it as my thank you for Division Street. This street made me a lot of money, and I want to do something for this street, and of course, for the wider community in Arlington. But it was my gratitude, and when I came to the conclusion, and I was convinced I needed to do it, that it could not be done. I just couldn't, just demolish it and expand my dealership. I was like, the only way to do it is demolish my dealership and build that beautiful building that I wanted to celebrate Arlington past, present, and future with that. So hopefully that's what we're trying to do.
It's going to be fantastic. And you did preserve the original sign. You're having that redone.
Absolutely,
so that's going to be special.
Right.
And I understand that your brother from a different mother worked there when he was younger.
Yes.
And that you're going to put him back to work there when you open it up.
That's funny.
Is that rumor true?
I mean, that's one of the stories. That's why I didn't want to demolish it. I mean, it's just all these people I care about. Either somebody, whose wedding was there, or they worked there when they were teenagers, or they stayed there, Yeah. So I heard all these stories and what it meant to them. And so David Sargent one time to me, and he said, Sam, I used to be a busboy here when I was a teenager. And I was like, okay, I'm going to give you a head chief busboy officer once we build it. So you've got that offer.
When you do that, I'm going to check in. And I'm going to stay at the hotel while he's bussing. I want to give him a hard time.
We'll make him be a busboy for a day at least.
That's what the same thing the Pecci family did with the Candlelight Inn.
Yes.
They totally remodeled that and preserved it because of all the stories people from Arlington had about the Candlelight Inn.
Absolutely. And I mean, really, I was inspired by Alan Pecci's and what he did there. I mean, and so to me, it was I'm not crazy. Other good people, they do these things. I mean, at the end of the day, you want to build a business that will prosper and sustainable and makes business sense. But how do you do it while keeping a piece of history? And that's the cool part when you do a project like that.
So I've got two remaining questions for you. And again, I appreciate all you've shared. What are the key leadership and ownership characteristics that have enabled you to accomplish all this? What are your personal key leadership and ownership characteristics that you think have played the biggest part in your success?
I mean, you start with building the right team, but how do you, when but they have at some point to see in you that you have values that they appreciate. When they see that, they'll emulate these values. So when in our businesses, they see me deeply caring about customers. They admire that, and they themselves care about it. It's not about money. Money is obviously is it's all about prospering and making money, but good business is honest business with integrity. And I've always knew that if you want to have a long-term business, you have to have the right fundamentals, which is serving people well, create a value, and be fair with people. So when you have these values, your people will start emulate and use that and become. So when you have a culture like that, there's you'll win. There's no way for you to lose if you've got a lot of good people working for you.
Culture really is everything, isn't it?
100%.
It really is. Somebody taught me years ago that if you do the right things the right way with integrity and with the right people who have integrity, the money will take care of itself.
100%. That is 100%.
Yeah, it does. And you've emulated that, and I just admire so much, Sam, how you came to this country and you saw the opportunity and you allowed yourself to be creative and innovative and found your unique ability and have just maximized that. So
thank you.
So I've got one last question for you.
Yes, sir.
So I ask everybody I interview: what's bigger than business for Sam Mahrouq?
What's bigger than business is legacy. And legacy is not about ego. It's not about I want people to think of me this way or that way. It's me feeling, when I pass at some point, and we all will, did I create a positive impact? And these 60, 70, 80, 90 years, only God knows how many years I'm going to be on this earth.
100, 110, 120.
But it's a very brief period of time considering, everything else. But was I a positive impact on people around me, on humanity, on friends and family? And if I feel like, I think when I go, I will be happy. I will, we're all going to have things to regret as possible, but overall, if I'm going to go with a smile because I think I did my role with honor, integrity, then I think that's bigger than any business.
Well, from a third-party objective point of view, you're hitting home runs in that category. And so just keep it up, because you've got a lot more years, and so you've got a lot more impact to make. And
I hope so. I hope so. I think, I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and whether it's a car dealer turning into a technologist, turning into I think I forgot to modify it, because we have an insurance company too that revolves around our business. Ranch to, the businesses are all over the place, to be honest with you. Not sure if that's good or bad, but it just makes me feel like, if you have the will, you can do it. Yep. But obviously you have to lead and have the right, I don't know nothing about the hotel business, but it's just, finding the right people and telling them, here's the value that I want to implement in there. And as long as they understand it and they do it, they'll that business will succeed. And regardless, I don't know what business I'm going to be in, a few years down the road, but I think if you do it with honesty, integrity, and you tell people, I want to do what's right, it will succeed on its own.
I have no doubt, and you've proven that already. Well, Sam, thank you. Thank you again. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you and everything you are, everything you do, and taking the time, your busy time, to share this with us and our listeners.
Thank you, Jeff. And as a final moment, I'm thankful to have met you. I'm thankful to David. I want to kind of recall a funny story when you first, when I met you first. And, it was COVID, and it was before COVID, it was like, okay, here's another insurance salesman wants to sell me something sometimes. And then, so I was a little bit dry. And then as I got to know you and know your organization and know how much not only you've helped us professionally, but you really care. And to me, that's I am beyond grateful to you and to what you're doing, to my organization, my people, the way you're helping us.
Thank you.
It's been a great journey together with you.
Well, thank you. And I've got a great team behind me that we all work together, and that culture, the same culture of caring and giving, is what makes it work. And yeah, you learn pretty quickly. We don't sell life insurance.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm glad we finally conveyed that.
Absolutely. It didn't take much to get to know who you are and what you present and the values, and I value that dearly, and I consider you a dear friend.
Well, thank you so much. It means a lot. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.